The Lost Titanic of World War II. The shipwreck that drowned 9,000 souls in history itself, a single torpedo, 9,000 people, and a tragedy 6 times larger than the Titanic, that the world chose to forget. January 30th, 1945. In the final, frantic winter of World War II, the Soviet Red Army was crushing Nazi Germany from the east. Millions of German civilians fled westward across frozen roads and Baltic harbors, desperate to outrun revenge. Amid the chaos waited a gleaming white ocean, liner the MV Wilhelm, Gustloff promising salvation. The Baltic Sea glittered black beneath scattered snow, its surface hiding wolf packs of Soviet submarines. Convoy escorts were scarce. Anti-aircraft guns were half frozen. Still, relief rippled through the decks. The passengers believed speed on the Red Cross banners the crew painted on the funnelwood shield them. The blast shattered the swimming pool tiles and flooded the lower decks instantly. Freezing water surged up stairwells, smashing lights, swallowing air. Panic detonated. Mothers lost grip of children in the crush. Soldiers, some still bandaged, clawed for ladders. 15 minutes in, the ship listed so sharply that lifeboat davits jammed. Only a handful could be lowered. Most passengers never reached the rails. Built in 1937 as a floating palace for Nazi leisure cruises, the ship now braced for a nightmare voyage. Operation Hannibal, the largest maritime evacuation in history. At 6:00 p.m., the captain sounded the horn. They were wrong. 40 nautical miles off the Polish coast, lurking in periscope range, waited Soviet submarine S-13 under Captain Alexander Mer. His orders: sink enemy transports. Through swirling sleet, he glimpsed the Gustloff S-lights. The captain had turned them on to avoid a collision with friendly minesweepers, breaking blackout protocol. That single mistake welded fate. Jumsapul, Levitt, and Potmanit, PM-3 torpedoes knifed into the liner's port side. Above, the orchestra tried playing to calm the crowd until the tilting deck pitched them into the icy abyss. By 10:37 p.m., the Wilhelm Gustloff slipped beneath the Baltic, carrying an estimated 9,400 men, women, and children to the bottom. The water temperature was 2 degrees Celsius. Hypothermia killed the few survivors clinging to debris within minutes. Rescue ships hauled just 1,200 living souls from the Blackwatermost frostbite, silent, staring at nothing. Yet here lies the most startling truth. For decades, the world barely spoke of it. Nazi propaganda suppressed the loss to keep civilian morale from shattering. After the war, Soviet authorities labeled the sinking a just military target and banned discussion. West Germany, rebuilding its identity, feared reopening wounds. So the dead of the Gustloff drifted out of textbooks, overshadowed by bigger headlines of victory and atrocity. Even today, many historians call it the forgotten disaster. When victory demands a tidy narrative, inconvenient tragedies are written in disappearing ink. Ask yourself, how does the largest maritime tragedy in human history vanish from collective memory and drown thousands of civilians to end the war? Faster a scheme scrapped at the final hour. Why was it approved? Who stopped it? And could similar plans be hidden in modern war rooms right now? Survivors like Erica Schultz, who was 10 that night, remembered gripping a floating door beside her mother until dawn, watching frozen bodies drift by like white petals. Gunter Preen, a teenage naval cadet, later wrote that the screams in the water were louder than any artillery. Their testimonies echo against the iron walls of history, demanding to be heard. Part of the silence comes from guilt. Nazi officials forced refugees onto the liner, prioritizing U-boat trainees for cabins while pregnant women huddled in cargo holds. Soviet sailors fired without mercy, driven by their own city's destruction. And the Alice-Icking, a simpler story of good versus evil, felt no urge to mourn German civilians. When fresh images of concentration camps filled newspapers, but numbers do not discriminate. 9,000 lives rivaled the entire population of a small town erased in 33 minutes. Among them were over 5,000 children, their names recovered only from crumpled school rosters found floating days later. Divers report dolls tangled in corroded railings, porcelain teacups still stacked in galleys, and a brass ship's bell that sometimes sways with currents as if sounding a delayed alarm. Today, the wreck rests 45 meters down, split and rust-veiled, declared a war grave under Polish law. Yet voices refuse to stay buried, and they force us to confront an uncomfortable lesson. Catastrophes can be erased not by time, but by choice. So, what else have we forgotten? Next week, we dive into another buried headline. The classified Allied plan to flood Berlin SF. History only stays hidden if we let it. Subscribe, bring a friend, and keep the past from sinking twice.